Okay, here we go. It started. So, welcome to yoga, everyone. Good to see all of you. Your t-shirt's cute. It's got a pumpkin and a Kentucky shape. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We'll just settle into our chairs and just let your chair take your way and relax. If you're new to gentle yoga, I'll let you know that we do all of our exercises in the chair, so there's no worries about staying balanced as long as you're in a nice, sturdy chair. And I'll tell you the rest as we go along. So, right now, we're just coming into this space together, starting to notice. Notice how you're feeling. Notice how your body feels today. You have any places where you're holding tension or stress, any places where you hurt. I know you just notice those. And then we'll notice our breath. How is your breathing? Does it feel smooth or rushed, relaxed, or stressful? And then just noticing, giving a moment's notice to whatever you might have on your mind today. And you can decide if it's something you want to try to focus your thoughts and energy away from while we practice. We'll try to do that. You can close your eyes during this portion if you like. If that feels comfortable to you, you don't have to do that. But you do want to let your face relax, and that might mean just letting your gaze go toward the floor. So let your eyelids relax. And now we're going to start to change our breath. So you may have to sit up a little bit straighter in your chair for this. You're going to want the breath to be able to go all the way down to your belly. So you might put your hands there so you can feel your belly expanding. So we're going to inhale through the nose. Feel the belly expand, and then slowly exhale through the nose or through the lips as if you're blowing out a candle. And then you can repeat that at your own pace. Just inhale and exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Trying to slow down your exhales, slowing down your heart rate, and helping you to relax a little bit more. And this is one of the basic foundations of yoga is the breath. Anytime during this practice today that you need to, you can just sit and do your breath, breathe like this. And you also want to move with your breath. So you want to be moving on an inhale or an exhale. Sometimes I'll tell you which one. Sometimes it'll just line up with whatever it is that we're doing. So just take a couple more of these deep breaths where you're slowing down, getting ready. And then we'll get ready to move on to our stretching and strengthening. Again, there should be no pain, no strain. If you have, if I do anything that causes you pain, you can go back to the breath. or you can make any kind of movement that feels okay to you. All right, so we're going to start by checking our posture. We'll just pull the shoulders up toward the ears and let the shoulder blades come together down the back. And then just kind of neutralize your spine. You don't want to have the chest too far forward. Let's start out today just by nodding. We're just going to say yes. And then we'll say no. Might be a small no. Your neck may not move too much side to side to begin with. And then let's bring the chin to the chest and we'll hold here for a moment. Maybe take an inhale and an exhale. Then we'll inhale as we let the chin follow the collarbone and look over the shoulder, opening your eyes while you do this so you can stretch your eye muscles. And then chin back to the chest. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And chin back to chest. Now we're just kind of roll the neck. You're pointing your nose toward the floor, up the wall, across the ceiling. And then we'll repeat that a couple times. And then reverse. And then come to face me again. We will let the ear come toward the shoulder on the same side. You can massage here the way and the side you're leaning away from. You might extend the arm you're leaning away from, or place your arm there to add a little weight to really stretch your neck. And of course, you're taking those deep breaths. You're not talking like me, so you take your good breaths. And then we'll release and do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll release. Let's bring our arms out to the side and we'll do a few small circles with the palms facing down. And then we'll flip the arms over, or flip the hands over and circle in the opposite direction. And then fingertips to the shoulders. We'll make some big circles. And then reverse. Good. And now we'll roll the shoulders. And reverse. And then we'll just shrug. And now we'll inhale to open. Exhale to hug your beach ball. Again, inhale. Exhale, hug. Inhale. This time we're going to hug ourselves. Exhale. And then we'll inhale and exhale. Hug yourself with the other arm on top. Inhale and now hug your knees. And you can breathe here. And when you're ready, reach towards your ankles. On your next inhale, we're going to scoop up. Let's turn the palms away from one another, and then we'll slowly exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that one more time. We're just going to scoop up. Inhale up. Palms away from one another. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2. Very nice. Let's come back up and we'll do some windshield wipers. And then we'll come out for weight machine. Inhale. Exhale to squeeze in front. When you squeeze, you're squeezing your biceps and triceps, and you're squeezing the muscles in your chest. And then we'll do a little conductor. Good. And then if you need to just move around a little bit and loosen anything back up, feel free to do that. Woo! Let's rest our arms against our bodies and we'll work on the hands. We'll do claw first. You can do this with hands and feet. We'll inhale and just squeeze all the muscles. Exhale to release and then repeat. And then touch the thumb to every finger. And then we'll circle the wrists. And reverse. Good. Now let one palm face me. You can still keep your arm rested. We're going to pull the fingertips back to stretch the forearm, the bottom of the forearm. I hear some screaming out there. And then we'll flip the hand over and either tug the fingertips gently or just press down on the top of your hand to stretch the top of the forearm. And we'll just shake that out a little bit. And then the same thing on the other side. Pull the fingertips back. And then we'll flip over. And then just shake that out. Very nice. Let's move out in our chairs a little bit so we can start working on the lower body and some more combinations. Let's just start with the jog. You can go slow or as fast as you want here. And you can vary it. Sometimes it's harder to go slow. You do whatever you want to do here. Good. Now we'll go into some leg lifts. Extend one leg, the other leg stays bent, the knee stays soft here. You can actually bend your leg if you like. So somewhere between a soft knee with a straight leg and a more of a bent leg, any of those will work. I try to do 10 to 12 reps on these, but I don't usually count them. So if you want to count, that's okay. Let's switch legs. And you'll notice that my foot is flexed. I'm not trying to point my toe or anything for these. Now, we'll do some sit-ups, and you have a choice whether you do a straight sit-up or you do a twisting sit-up. I'll do twisting so you can follow me. You can bring the elbow toward the knee and lift the knee if you choose. And I'll do several on the same side. And then we'll switch sides. Good. And then we'll do a little airplane. I realized I forgot to do that one earlier, so we usually fit it in some right here anyway. So we'll do some airplane, and then we'll do some side stretches. So we'll stop with one arm down and one up. We're going to stretch really tall and lean toward the lower arm. You can look down at the floor, look toward me, or look up under your elbow. And then we'll inhale up, exhale down, and stretch tall, lean. Inhale up. This time let's face the palms to the back of the room, and then we'll slowly exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Let's go back for another round of leg lifts and sit-ups. And other leg. And then we will do our sit-ups, either straight or twisting. And when I have my hands behind my head, I'm not pulling at all. They're just resting there. You might put them out to the side so that you're not tempted to pull on your neck. That's something we definitely don't want to do. Let's switch sides. If you're twisting, and then if you need to, loosen up again. Right. Now, let's get back in our chairs. We're going to put our legs out and do some work on the legs and feet. Let's start with just pointing and flexing. And then we'll circle. Circling the ankles. Remember to breathe. And let's reverse. Now you can bend your knees for just a second to rest. And then we'll come back up. This time we're going to point the toes and make sure you have your core engaged. Protect your back. We're going to do some scissors for the inner and outer thighs and the hips. Abduction and adduction. I never can remember which one is which of those, but we're doing them both, so I'm going to have to pick. All right, bend your knees. Let's come out and do a few jumping jacks. So, as I always say, you can choose here. You can do your full-on jumping jack. You can do one-sided, or you can do only the lower body or the upper body if you have any kind of issues you're trying to work around. So just jump right in with your preference. Good. And I'm going to let our heart rate come back down. And while we do a little stretch for the shoulder, so you can come across with a straight arm or a bent arm here. Just going to press in so that you're stretching the shoulder and you're looking over it. And breathing. And then we'll release and do the same thing on the other side. And release. Good. Let's go into our warriors. We'll turn to face one side of the room. And you're going to extend the leg that's closer to me. Your toes are down, your heel is up. And point your tailbone toward the floor. So, you're curving in just a little bit so you don't overextend your back. Now we'll inhale up. We're going to exhale down. And then we'll repeat that several times. And these triceps dips. And then arms up overhead. This is our warrior one. And we'll windmill down. Warrior two. So now the leg is bent again. You may straighten this leg. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you can keep it bent. And then we're stacking the ribs over the hips here and looking out over the fingertips. Now we're going to transition to a side angle stretch. We'll do that by bringing, I forgot one thing. Let's go back up here. We're going to flip the front palm and tip back. This is peaceful warrior. You can look up at your fingertips if that's comfortable. If not, just look straight ahead. Remember to keep breathing. And then we'll move back down, warrior two. We're going to bring the forearm above the knee, look behind, and draw an imaginary line down the wall, across the floor, up to the corner between the ceiling and the wall. And then we'll move with the breath. Come back out of that the same way we came into it. Very nice. Now come to face me. This is horse pose. We're just facing the fingertips down. And we're going to stretch the shoulders, the waist. And so what we'll do is bring one shoulder between the knees, look over the other shoulder. Then moving with your breath, we'll bring the other shoulder into that space. Now we're going to repeat this a couple times. You can do it very slowly and hold longer, or you can do it a little more quickly. That's up to you. And whenever you're ready, we'll meet on the other side of the chairs and we'll repeat our warriors. So first extending the leg back, your warrior one, arms up overhead, and then we'll move with the breath down to our first tricep sit, and then we'll just repeat that several times again. Now when arms are overhead, you can look up if that feels comfortable. We'll windmill down to our warrior two. I almost did a horsey breath there. That's what yoga with Adrienne, she calls it. She says, I call that a horsey breath. You just go. So we're looking at over our fingertips. Now we're going to flip the front palm and tip back. Peaceful warrior. And then back down. Warrior two. We'll transition to side angle pose. And placing the arm here, looking behind, and drawing that imaginary line. And just stretching very long as you can stretch. Remembering to breathe. And then we'll move with the breath. And out of that, the same way that we came into it. Very nice, everyone. Let's go back and do our, this time we're going to switch the order. We'll do the sit-ups and then we'll do the leg lifts. So here we go. You can choose this or you can twist with me. And then I'm going to change sides. And then if you need to loosen up, you can do that. And we'll do our last set of leg lifts. We'll lift one leg, stretch, and then go to the other. Here we go. And then we'll let the heel rest. We'll sit up nice and tall on the inhale. Hinge out on the exhale, keeping the knees soft, the foot flexed. Feeling a nice stretch in your arch of your foot and then really all the way up your leg to the sits bone. Trying to keep your neck neutral so you don't strain your neck. And then we'll slowly come back up. We're going to hug the knee in. Feel a stretching in the quadriceps. You might do some other things here like kind of rock around and massage your glute, point and flex, or circle. Just hitting some of those other areas again. And then when you're ready, we'll cross the leg. You can cross low on your leg anywhere, or you can cross above the knee. You want to keep your foot active here. Don't just let it hang or pointed. It stays flexed. If you want, so you're stretching this hip that you can't see for me if you're on camera, but if you want to get a further stretch, you can hinge out like we did before. And when you're ready, you can slowly come back up, place that foot down, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. We're going to start with just the leg lifts. And just let the leg rest. Foot stays flexed, knees stay soft. We'll inhale, exhale to hinge out. When you're ready, slowly come back up. We'll hug the knee in, maybe rock, maybe circle, point and flex. And then we'll cross. Your choice again. It doesn't have to be the same choice as last time. But if you're crossing above the knee, you definitely want to keep your foot flexed. This is the hip we're stretching. Kind of feel that all around. If you want to get a deeper stretch, you can hinge forward. Even it might just be a fraction that you're hinging, but you'll feel it. Make sure you're taking some good deep breaths. And then when you're ready, you can slowly come back up, place that foot on the floor, and we're going to get ready for our twist and eagle arms. We'll start here with the hands just softly above the knees or at the knees. We'll inhale, exhale to twist. You're going to bring the front hand to the outside of the opposite knee while you look over that shoulder you're leaning toward. If you have discomfort in your low back, you may lift your hip up off your chair. And just be sure that you're breathing here. And when you're ready, we'll just come back around, cross over, bend the elbows. You can touch the backs of your hands here, or you can twist up, kind of more into a pretzel. Feel some good stretching between your shoulder blades. And when you're ready, we'll inhale and just lift up a little bit. Exhale to curve down into your lap. Let out all the breath. Big, big exhale. And then when you're ready, you can release. And on your next inhale, we'll do that scoop up. Arms to the back of the room. And then slow exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll repeat that to the other side. Inhale. Exhale on your twist. Remember again, don't lift your head. That helps your back. And when you're ready, move with the breath to come back around. We'll cross over, bend the elbows, and tap the backs of the hands or twist into your pretzel. This is the eagle arms. I don't really know why. When you're ready, we'll inhale and lift up a little bit. Exhale down. nose. And then we inhale up. Palms to the back of the room. Exhale. Very nice. Now, before we do our last pose, our sunshine pose, and then the resting pose, of course. If you need to move anything again, loosen anything up, make just any kind of movement you want to make, get all your wiggles out. This is the time to get your wiggles out. So when you're ready, you can bring your knees apart, cup your hands. We're going to reach forward and down and keeping the head up. And we'll inhale, like we're scooping up some good cool water, and then exhale, just letting it flow over you. And then just relaxing back into your chair. You'll remember how we started our practice. Just relaxed in our chairs. They're your support. They're taking the weight for you right now. You don't have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're just here with our group, taking good care of yourself. Your hands can be resting on your thighs. They can be facing up or facing down. That's your choice. Whatever feels good. Let your shoulders feel heavy. Like they're trying to stay as far away from your earlobes as possible. So your neck can be nice and long. Settling into those deep breaths again. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose or through the lips. As if you're blowing out a candle. If your heart rate feels like it doesn't want to slow down, you can do a sigh or a horsey breath. Sometimes it just doesn't want to slow down. Make sure that your beautiful face is nice and soft. No scrunching up that place between your eyebrows or your eyes even. If your eyes aren't closed, just look toward the floor. Let your eyes relax. Take the tongue off the roof of your mouth so your jaw can relax. So everything should feel kind of heavy and still. And just take a few more seconds to enjoy this peace and the stillness. Now, whenever you're ready, there's no rush. You can start to reawaken your body, just wiggling the fingers and toes, then moving into the hands and feet. Start to move towards your core. Just waking everything up, and then we will reach really tall. Inhale, exhale down into a hug for yourself. Really feel this hug and say something kind to yourself today. When you're ready, you can just give yourself a final little squeeze and release. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. So next Monday, the library will be closed for Labor Day. So I'll see you in 2 weeks. Everybody have a safe holiday. They are. Yes, they're very comfortable. Oh, let me turn this off. Well, I will tell you. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.